You guys will not believe what happened to me on my way walking to take this stupid pool for my dog home. Just wait. Just drove to Kroger's and bought the biggest kiddie pool that I could, and it won't fit in my car, so you know what I'm doing? I'm walking home. This is great. Alright, so I haven't eaten. I got myself some McDonald's. I'll eat it in a second. I'm gonna tell you guys what happened to me. So in the snap where I'm like, I bought this kiddie pool, won't fit in my car, guess what I'm doing? And I round that corner. I don't know if you can tell, but I rounded a corner. Okay, as soon as that snap ended and I had rounded that corner, I see an old man walking, and he's struggling to walk. He's literally taking 2 steps and stopping and like readjusting his arms, and he's just got 2 little bags of groceries, like light stuff. I could tell it was light from just looking at it, and then I also know from, anyway, I'll tell you. So I see him struggling, and I'm like, shoot, like I gotta take this pool home, but like I can't just walk past this old man struggling to take his groceries home. So I'm like, sir, do you need any help? And he's like, oh yes, thank you. So I take his bags, and like I said, I found out that way they were for sure light, and I take both of his bags, and he's just walking now, and he's struggling still. And I'm like, shoot, man, like he's gonna take forever. It took us 15 minutes to walk 3 blocks. So, and it was more like 2.5 because he had already cleared half of the first block when I came around that corner and saw him. So I'm helping him, and like by the time we get to his place, it's been 15 minutes, and we only walked 2 blocks, 2.5 blocks. 3, we can say 3. That's still ridiculous. That's 5 minutes a block. So anyway, I'm checking my speed and surroundings because it's Memorial Weekend. Anyway, so we're talking, you know, and he's like, I don't have a cell phone, I don't have this, I've fallen before and cracked my head open, and like nobody was there, and like a random passerby saw me and called the ambulance and blah blah blah. And he's just, you know, we're talking, his name was he was a nice little old man, he lived by himself. And so we get to his place, and I hand him his stuff, and I'm like, I already told him, I'm like, I'm not gonna help you into the house, but I'll help you to the house, so I'm not going up in your house. So I hand him his stuff at the end of the sidewalk, and I'm like, you know, have a nice day, and I start walking away. So then, as I'm walking away, I hear, Samantha! I'm like a feeble old man voice, you know, and I'm like, I turn around, and I'm like, what's wrong? And he's like, I'm falling, but like, he's still standing. So I run over to him, and I'm like, but by the time I get to him, he just like kind of sits down, and then like rolls onto his back. Like, it was very graceful, slow motion, very timed, very planned, very strategic, very fake. And so I'm like, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into? Because that was the fakest fall I've ever seen. So I tell him immediately, I'm like, hey, you know, sit up, take a few deep breaths, I'm calling an ambulance. He's like, oh, no, it's fine, just help me up. And I'm like, no, bro, I'm not helping you up because 1, I ain't touching you. 2, I'm not helping you into your house. 3, no. And so I call an ambulance, and I, you know, wait for the ambulance to get there, and they get there, and we're talking to the ambulance people, whatever, and they're like, can you tell me what happened? And he's like, oh, she pushed me. And I'm like, that's not funny. Like, he was clearly joking, but it wasn't funny because I don't know this man, and they don't know that I don't know this man, and they don't know nothing. And I'm like, both of the EMS dudes look at me, like, serious. And I'm like, ha, he's just joking, like, ha. And then they kind of, like, smile and look away. And, like, they believed him at first. And I'm like, no, I didn't, bro. Like, no, I didn't. So then he's like, ha, just kidding. And I'm like, not freaking funny. So, anyway. So then he goes on to tell them what happened, and he explained it as if, like, I'm, like, his designated helper to help him, like, do his groceries. And so, like, I butt in, and I'm like, I was just buying a kiddie pool for my dog. It couldn't fit in my car, so I started walking it home, and I decided to help this man on my way home. So, like, I don't know him. I just did this for the first time ever. Like, I don't know him. So they check his vital signs and everything, and while he's doing that, the guy, is like talking to me, and he's like, hey, how far do you have to walk home? And I tell him, and he's like, well, I don't think this guy's gonna need us to take him anywhere, so we'll give you a ride. And I'm like, sweet, riding in style. So he takes my pool and he sticks it in the ambulance, and while he's on the other side of the truck, I follow him, and I'm like, sir, I just need to let one of you guys know, like, away from that man, that his fall was very fake. And he tells me, he's like, oh, well, actually, to let you know, this guy's very well known with us. He falls all the time, and we know him really well. And the guy that's helping him right now knows him and knew who you were talking about when you called and said that his name was John. Knew exactly who you were talking about. I'm like, great, what did I get myself into? So they're like, don't even worry about it, like, you're fine. So then I go and wait, because he's like, just wait a few minutes, we'll take you home, and we're just gonna help him up and he can go inside. So they help him up and his knees buckle, and we're like, oh my god. So they're like, okay, hang on 1 second, we're gonna have to help him inside into his house. And I'm like, great, like, I'll just start walking, that's fine, like, I'll just start walking now, like. And they're like, it'll still be faster if you just wait on us, like, we'll take you. And I'm like, yeah, but I gotta go to work, like, I'll just start walking. And they're like, no, just wait, we'll be right back. So I decided to wait, because that's what he said, and they go to help him into the building. It takes them like 5 minutes to get up to the building from the sidewalk. They finally get up to the building, and his knees buckle again. So they start looking at him again, and they're like, sir, are you sure you don't need more assistance, da-da-da-da-da? And he's like, yeah, I guess I can use a little bit more help. So then the guy who told me he would take me home, he comes back, he's like, I'm so sorry, he asked for more help, we have to help him, we can't take you home. And so he's like, I called you an SUV from the firehouse station, and they're gonna come pick you up with your pool and take you home. So then I'm like, great, I gotta wait even longer. So I'm sitting there waiting, and finally the dude comes. And now, mind you, the guy who told me he would take me home, all he did was pull the pool back out of the truck, but he left the truck completely open. So I'm standing there with an open ambulance and my pool. So when the dude rolls up, he's like, where are my guys? And I'm like, they're inside, like, I didn't kill them, like, huh? And they're like, he's like, he left this all open like this? And I was like, yeah, like, I'm just trying to go home with my pool for my dogs, okay? And he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna need to move this truck and shut it all up. And so he's like, wait right here. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm just trying to take my kiddie pool home to my dogs! So I go and get in the passenger seat of his car while he's moving the ambulance and shutting it all up and checking to make sure his dudes are okay. He comes back to the car and he's like, so what happened? Like, what's the deal with the pool? And I tell him everything, and he's laughing and I'm laughing. And I'm like, actually, like, he was telling you to take me home, but can you take me to my car and then you can follow me home? Because if you take me home with the pool, I'm still gonna have to walk back to get my car from Kroger's. So he follows me to takes me to Kroger's. He's got my kiddie pool in his SUV. He follows me home, and then I get home with the pool. And of course, nosy neighbor out on the porch, and she's staring at me like I'm crazy because EMS guy just got out of the car behind me and pulls out a kiddie pool and is thanking me for what I did. And she's just like looking like, what the heck is happening here? So I'm like, oh yeah, no worries, thank you. And we say happy Memorial Day weekend, whatever. And he leaves, and I'm like, what is happening? What's the deal with the kiddie pool? So that was my morning.